Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. And I'm with the wonderful Sally Estlin today, and we're going to talk about something which is really cool, vulnerability.
Vulnerability, absolutely. Yet let your guard down and just be you. That was my sort of tagline for today.
So for us to come on and do this show, we need to be vulnerable. What if you don't like it? What if you reject me?
Oh, yeah, the fear, all the fear. Just, yeah. Gets easier though, doesn't it?
It does. Gets really easy because in the end we don't care. I mean, we're authentic, we try and be ourselves, but if it's for you, it's for you. If it's not, it's not.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Take it as you find us.
Brené Brown is, a big person who pushes all about the daring greatly and being vulnerable and all that sort of stuff. And Dad, have you read any of her books or podcasts?
No, but I've watched quite a few of her TED Talks, and she's referred to as the queen of vulnerability.
Absolutely. Here's a quote from her: "Vulnerability is our greatest measure of courage. It's not winning or losing, it's having the courage to show up to be seen where you have no control over the outcome." And that sort of sums it up, doesn't it? It's all about courage. And vulnerability is a strength. It's not a weakness. It's a quality. It's balancing out with that resilience and being vulnerable. It's more of in some ways, it's sort of a female energy, whereas resilience is a stronger male one, and getting that balance. It's important to be vulnerable, really important to be vulnerable, because that's how you grow. That's how you're more real.
Yeah, it's also about being authentic.
Authentic.
Being you, not having, a work Harry and a private home Harry.
Absolutely. Feeling comfortable in your own skin. I actually did a model about it. You would have done one too.
You did do a model.
Yeah, because vulnerability is an act of courage because you're merging with your authentic self instead of hiding behind the facade. So It's exactly what it is. Being vulnerable is really good. So I did my model here. There we go. Nice to see. And we've got 3 circles. And in the first circle, I've got relinquish. So let your guard down. Take off the mask. Stop hiding behind the facade and stop pretending to be somebody else. So you take that one off. And then in the next circle, I put raw. It's okay to be real and raw, to be your authentic self. Those were my words. To tap into and connect with your true emotions. Be honest with yourself of how you feel and think about stuff, and be emotionally available. And just go with it. So be raw. And then the third circle had risk. Be prepared to take risks. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Find the courage and the strength to walk into the unknown and have belief and trust in yourself with the decisions you make and where you're going. And then once you've relinquished, let your guard down and become raw and authentic, you're more at peace. You're not pretending, but you're comfortable in your own skin. So it's less stress and chaos around, because it's so much more peaceful to be yourself than have to try to pretend to be somebody else. It's so exhausting keeping up the charade of keeping that facade up. So let those walls down. And then when you're really real and raw and tapping into those real emotions and taking lots of risks, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, you get personal growth. You're more connected with yourself. You've got more self-control, control of your life, self-worth. You value yourself more. You've improved yourself, self-improvement. So you're not upset about how others perceive you so much, and you let go of all that fear. Let it go, and let go of what others are seeing and commenting and thinking and feeling. That's okay. That's their opinions. And then finally, when you relinquish by taking off the mask, letting the facade down, and take more risks, you actually get more positive opportunities, greater experiences and opportunities in your life, and you're ultimately more happier. And then right in the middle of the circle, you just get the true, authentic self. And that's my little model for the day.
That's cool. So that's a little bit different from what I had.
Yeah, what have you got, Harry?
I always start with the more basic stuff. Try and pull apart those micro moments before you do something.
Oh, yeah.
So the first step in my model was to make the choice, choose to be yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then I think you take the courage to ditch the fear.
Yep.
So you're not going to let the fear overwhelm you.
Yep. Awesome.
And then you commit to the uncertainties and the risks and the exposure that is going to follow.
Absolutely. I love that.
If you choose to be yourself and you take the courage to ditch the fear, it actually gives you power.
Love that.
And if you have the courage and then you make the commitment, it actually gives you a purpose.
Yep.
It sustains your purpose.
Yep.
And having committed to the uncertainty and the risks and the exposure, and having chosen to be yourself, that gives you a presence.
Yeah.
Because you are much more integrated.
Yeah.
And overall, if you do all of this, it honours what Brené Brown says is the reason why we're really here, and that is to better connect.
Yeah.
Because I think that's all, by being authentic, but by being open, by being vulnerable, the real richness, the prize that flows from that is to really connect with our audience.
Yeah, and connect with yourself, because you can connect with others. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And
so my sticker for today is dare to be vulnerable.
Dare to be vulnerable. Yes, mine's let it go and just be you. Let you go and just be you. Yeah, for sure. I had a few 3 steps.
Yes.
1, just take that mask off, let your guard down. 2, stand firm in your shoes and own your choices. Be your authentic self. And 3, learn and grow from all your experiences and opportunities. You know, by being vulnerable, you know, you're taking risks and you just learn from your experiences as you go along.
Absolutely. And we're all going to make mistakes along the way, as we always do. Like this morning, I had a Zoom call with a guy in Finland at 6 o'clock this morning. I didn't wake up till 7:30. So this guy's a sleep expert. He's developed this, as I was telling you, he has developed this awesome technique for sleep, which I may very well adopt. But he's fine. It was midnight in Finland, and he's cool to be able to.
We had a laugh. And that is being vulnerable. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's like walking into
So my 3 steps were, firstly, to learn to love yourself.
Yeah, love that. And
define your core. My second step was to define your core values and your passions. Yep. Be clear about what it is you stand for and what it is that turns you on.
Yep.
And then the third step is to eliminate those actions which no longer serve your values.
Love it. Let it go.
So those are going to get you towards the path to being authentic, and you're no longer going to be too scared about being vulnerable. Yeah.
Yeah, and just like live in the present, just be now. The past is past, and you can always, with gratitude, go, yep, I just want things done differently now. That's brilliant, Harry. Yeah. I love it.
Gratitude is really powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. I love this topic. I think it's really important, and just spread the word. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's just absolutely okay. Because how much more peaceful is it to be yourself? Like it's just to be yourself. And, you know, when I was writing this, I thought something really interesting. You know, I had blonde hair for quite a number of years, but when I took it back to my original colour last year, I just felt like I'd come home. I felt like I was the true me. Even though it was a hair colour, it was never me. And now I feel like it's really me. So, you know, being authentic.
And, you know, I've noticed something. I think your IQ's gone up.
It's working with you. It's rubbing off. You are hilarious. Oh, dear. I did have more fun being blonde, but I'm a bit smarter being dark.
Exactly.
All righty. Well, we should wrap it up there. And thanks.
Well, I've got a couple more points. I think.
Yep. Sorry.
Yeah, a couple more things. Vulnerability makes us human.
Yes.
It makes us accessible. It makes us lovable, and it makes us connectable. So, for instance, when I spend most of my life assessing children with learning difficulties or underperforming,
Yep.
and some big children who are adults. But at the end of the session, I'll talk to the mum about how this journey that brought them to me, how this makes them feel. And I'll go on asking that question until they really tell me how they feel. And usually they feel safe enough to say, I feel sad, I feel frustrated, I feel, a failure, whatever it is. And then they cry. But that's a moment of vulnerability. And, then we really make a connection there. So I practice this every time I meet a client. It's an important part of actually my assessment.
Yeah.
To make a safe enough space. To make a safe enough space so a client feels they can be vulnerable.
Absolutely. And that's like people coming into my gym. They feel very vulnerable, particularly when they're carrying excess weight. And it's embarrassing that, they feel embarrassed, but it's in a safe environment where they can just start and just be themselves, leave everything at the door, and just walk in and just be raw and real. Absolutely.
Talking about overweight, which is completely off topic. There's a clinic that's opened here, and they've brought in a therapy which freezes the fat, and then your body can metabolize the fat.
Wow. Oh.
Very interesting. And there's currently a quick Kickstarter project up current. No, it's on Indiegogo Go with it. Anyway, I'll send you the link because you might find it for some of your clients.
There's been so many. I'm always researching and always open fat zapper, and then I've got epoxy and all these different things, but ultrasounding down the fat. It's always interesting. Sorry?
Freezing is old tech. I mean, it's been around a long time.
Yeah. No, it'd be interesting to look into it. So
there's a couple of resources.
Yep.
Brené Brown, of course, her famous TED Talk, which established her career, was called The Power of Vulnerability, and that would be the place to start for anybody interested in this topic.
Yep.
If you wanted to read a book about it, Brené Brown has written a book called Daring Greatly, and that, honours the words of the American President Roosevelt. So those would be the two key places that I would go if I wanted to learn more about this topic.
I had that one down, and also Rising Strong, another one of her books. But anything to do with Brené Brown, just get started, because that Daring Greatly, the tagline is how the courage to be vulnerable transforms the way we live, love, parent, and lead. And that sort of sums it all up. There's so much Brené Brown out there. It's really, really encouraging. And, she's done all the research and everything there, and leaders, So great leaders show vulnerability,
And she's entertaining. She's a good watch. She's not boring.
No, she's dynamic, personality, vibrant, all that sort of stuff. So, it's good. I download a lot of audiobooks because it's just, I'm too tired at night time, so to do it when I'm walking, and so I've listened to a lot of her stuff. It's great. So, I really like this topic. I look forward to, it's in another 2 weeks, isn't it? So, back in March, after the long weekend, Look forward to it again then. Well, thanks again for joining us. We'll catch you later.
Welcome. Okay, bye.